Hey everybody, I'm Greg.
And I'm Katie. Welcome to the Maple Society. Today we are starting the final episode of The Seas, episode 18, part 7 of The Seas.
Finally.
Yes.
How many is it? 180 some odd seas?
I think I miscounted. I think we were at 140, 160, something like that.
That's
total
a big
of the
miscount.
seas. That is, but we added like an additional 7 or 8 from previous numbers. So it just kind of, yeah, it was a lot regardless.
Well, before we get started, if you can go ahead and follow us on all of our social medias, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
And of course, if you like this type of content, if you find this entertaining, I sure hope you find this entertaining, please consider subscribing to the channel, like the video for us, maybe hit the bell icon so you get notification of future content. But
with that,
let's get started.
Earlier in the seas, we talked about Castles of Mad King Ludwig and that we didn't get to play our Kickstarter. Well, we finally got to play the Kickstarter Deluxe version.
We talked about this one several episodes back, so I'm not going to go into it a lot.
Just a little bit about the difference in what we had to what we have now.
The original version we had went into our travel collection, so it is a great game, and I think it'll get much love over there as well. This one, of course, is in our version, or is in our collection, along with the jumbo tiles, the colossal tiles. Thank you. We did not play with the colossal tiles, mostly because I didn't feel like clearing the entire table off just for the two of us, because that's probably what it would have taken.
Clear off the floor, move the table out of the way, play on the floor.
Might have, yes. But I love the new board, the new score tracker. It is it's beautiful.
It's really cool because it has the little slots that fits actually all of your holding trays in the box actually come out and sit in the little slots in that. But the only thing I did not like about it is the score trail. It kind of wound through all of it and you lose it.
It wound through all of the pieces. This is, I mean, it looks like it's like a river or a lake that your buildings are coming up out of. Maybe it's supposed to be a moat, I don't know, but it's your buildings are coming up out of it that hold all of your room tiles and your cards and your, oh my gosh, the King's Favor tokens, thank you. And the score winds through and around these buildings. So yeah, there are times, depending on where you're sitting at the table, you can't see where your swan's at. The score trackers are now little bitty swans. They're gorgeous. Nice weighted. They're beautiful production.
This came with all the expansions, including the tower.
Yes.
Well, let me rephrase that. All the expansions as to when it came out. There's a new expansion coming out for it.
That does not fit in the box
for the second edition.
We will not be getting it. Anyhow, that is Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Again, this is the Royal Collection. Really, really enjoyed it. They definitely did a good job with this one. I'm glad I got it. So, but anyway, that is that.
Next, we are going to be doing the cruise on both of them.
There you go.
We've played this one a lot. We've played this with our son Justin and his wife Jackie.
We played this one with Doug and Mary for the first time. They introduced it to us. We played it on New Year's Eve with my brother and his wife and some other friends. Sarah and Doug played at some point. And then the majority of it has been played with Justin and Jackie, and they have been working through the rest of the missions with us. I think we're on like mission 30.
Yeah, both of these come with a 2-player variant. We have not played this with the 2-player variant, and we have the people who have said it's not that fantastic.
We did play this one with the 2-player variant in order to get it played, because we don't really want to start the missions on this one till we get this guy done. And we're close, but not quite. So we opened this guy up and played a couple of missions with the 2-player variant just to see how it played. And it was okay. You take and you deal out so many cards to your third opponent, and I don't remember what they call him, but or to your third partner, I guess. Some face down, some face up. And when tricks are led, you have to pull from the face up cards as to what would be the most logical choice. That player never has to take any tricks. None of the gold cards are for them anyway, I should say. And as you pull the top card off of one of the 7 stacks, then the bottom card is revealed. technically they could renege this way, but I don't think that's even addressed in the rules. You play with the knowledge you have, and that's it. It was okay. I guess it is a viable way to get it played if you've only got 2 people.
Yeah.
But I think I much enjoy it with 4
at
people.
least 3 to 5 people.
I really enjoy it. 4 seems like a sweet spot. So I really like it with 4. Anyhow, missions are a little bit different in this one. In this one, all of the mission cards are
just numbers.
You have to have a specific number. But first, let's back up a little bit. We didn't even talk about the fact this is a cooperative trick-taking game.
Yep.
Again, when we first heard about this one, I was like, that can't possibly work well.
Yeah.
I feel like I say that a lot on some games, but it does work. At the beginning of each mission, there is a logbook that tells you how the mission's going to run. This one has like 50. I think this one only has like 30, 35, something like that. But there is a logbook that tells you how the mission is going to run. And on this guy, all of the mission cards are specific numbers. So whoever has this particular mission in the group has to collect the trick with the pink 4 in it. That's it. That's all you have to do. You have to make sure you take the pink 4 somehow.
Easy, right?
Not necessarily. It's easy if there's only 1 or 2 missions out there, but when you get to 5 or 6 missions, it gets a little more complicated.
And it adds that this trick has to go before that trick, and that trick has to go before this trick.
Yeah, and then you've got
or you have to get that trick with only using a 1.
Yeah, it's some of the missions get a little hairy. With this game, there's only 4 suits, just like any trick-taking game. However, trump is the black suit. So there's actually 5 suits. You've got your blue, your pink, your green, your yellow, and then black. Black is trump. There's only 4 of them, though.
The rockets.
And the rocket suit. Yeah, thank you. Whoever has the 4 is the commission leader, or the mission leader. I'm sorry, the mission leader. Mission commander. That's the word I was trying to come up with. It's the mission commander.
English is such a hard language.
It really is. So this person in each round has to decide who gets what missions. Potentially depends on what the mission log says. He deals out, he leads off the first trick. There's just a lot to it. You can communicate some knowledge. There are tokens in here that allow you to communicate 1 piece of knowledge from 1 card in your hand. You lay it down on the table and say I had the 7 of red 7. I could communicate that red 7 was either my highest red, my only red, or my lowest red. And that would help somebody determine, oh, hey, somebody has to get the red 7. There it is. I don't want to throw a red if I know that's their only red. So it just gives you a little bit of information, but you can only do that with 1 card in your hand.
And there's times that you can't do it till like the 3rd trick.
Right. And by then it might be too late. This guy, the missions are a little different. The only difference we've found in this one so far, oh my, this one's not.
You didn't bag that one.
I did not bag this one. Oops. This one's a little bit different. There are complexity levels on the back, depending on the player count. Player count. Thank you. On either 3, 4, or 5. Now, if you're playing a 2-player game, you automatically count as 3 because you've got the dummy player. The missions themselves are a little different. So the mission log gives you a parameter you're looking for. So you are looking for a total difficulty of 10. So you're going to look at the back of these depending on the number of players, and you're going to keep counting until you get to 10. All right, so like in this one, you've got a 3. There's a 3. There's a 2. Well, that's 8. That would make 10. But if I suddenly grab this one, now I'm at 11. I have to take all of them. So a little bit higher difficulty. And again, for 5 players, this is a 5 because it's much more difficult to accomplish in a 5-player game. So the missions themselves are a little different. It's not just a specific number. This one says I'll win the green 2 in the final trick of the game. So that green 2 has to be the last thing taken. This one says you're going to win the 3, 4, and 5 of different colors. So the missions are a lot harder in this one, I feel like, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm anxious to get started on this guy once we finish the other one. Anyway, that is the crew. Like I said, I did not buy into the hype when this first came out, but let me tell you, if you like trick-taking games, buy into the hype.
Okay, next we've got a 2-player brain-burning game of Curious Cargo that Katie hasn't figured out yet.
Have I won this yet?
No, you have not.
I swear I've come so close. The last game I came so close.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is by the same makers who did Pipeline, and basically it has in Pipeline you're building pipes to run your resources. This is similar to it. It's the pipe building part of it.
And you're running resources.
You're shipping cargo.
You're shipping cargo. Okay.
But you're not sure exactly what they are.
Right. You got 2 to 3 different types of cargo, depending on whether you want the basic or the advanced game. We've played the advanced game once. Talk about brain burning.
You are building pipes of different colors because you got in the basic one, you got a red pipe and a blue pipe, and you're trying to make them connect to a dock from one of the little machines, and you're also trying to get it over to a receiving dock.
So
to be able to ship, you got to have it come out and to
everybody gets a board, and there's like 10. I think there's 6 different types of boards in here.
Mm-hmm. You got trucks that are coming in because you can play truck cards to bring them in, so you can load the trucks, but you can't put 2 different the same type of good beside it in the truck, so it has to rotate down.
Yeah.
And it all depends on where your truck comes in at. Do you have anything that can load there? Because you got to get your pipes over there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big puzzle.
It is a very big puzzle because your tiles are all look like this. Mm-hmm. So you're trying to wind your pipes through to connect from the machines to the docks. Yeah.
And as you're shipping, you're bringing in trucks. So you're moving your trucks down your side of the board. And once it gets so far past the dock 10, it moves over to the other players' boards, and now they have to receive it, and they've got to have pipes over there to receive it, because if they don't, they're not going to get it. And you're going to win the game by getting those unloaded, because you're going to get special
points
things.
You get points by shipping stuff. You get points by receiving stuff. Mm-hmm. Technically, okay, so this game ends when one person reaches the star point.
On the scoring
track, it ends when one person reaches the scoring the star. Then you count up stars. If everybody has 1 star, then you divert to points. If only one person has the star, which is usually what happens to us, then that person wins. So it's got like a backup mechanism.
And on receiving too, though, it has a place where you
get more points from receiving.
Over to when you get to if you receive all of them, all your spots, you have another star you can get.
Yes.
And if it comes down to however many stars you have, the one with the most stars wins, and if it's tied, then you start adding up your points.
Yeah, because your player boards. I don't know why these are.
Now there is one thing in there though: you cannot win the game if you don't
ship at least 2. You have to ship at least these first 2 of both colors, or you're not even eligible to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it's hard not to ship.
I think I've actually had a game where I did not. I got lots of blue out and no red, or something like that.
No.
I think I did actually have a game where I did not, because I could not get red connections. Mm-hmm. So I enjoy the game, even though I can't win the silly thing. Like I said, it's a brain burner for sure.
Mm-hmm. Next is a roll and write, and this is actually a roll and write. You roll dice, you write stuff down.
Yep.
This is Corinth.
This one is there is a set of dice set out, and you roll the dice and you place the numbers down. The highest one has to go here on the gold, and then you start with the lowest one here and work your way up. So some of these guys may never get dice depending on what you roll. And you're rolling 9 right on around. Your score sheet, this is your score sheet, and my goodness, they give you plenty of them. You are taking dice from here and putting them on your score sheets. So for instance, if I choose gold, I'm going to circle my gold. If I choose the goats at the bottom, if I choose dice off the goats, I'm going to circle the goats. Goats and gold can be used to build some of your monuments.
And the amount you do equals to the amount that's in that area on
the dice, right? Dice so if you have 4 dice in the gold, then you get 4 gold. If you have 4 dice in the goats, then you get 4 goats. And then you've also got your storekeepers, your 4 different color storekeepers. And as you get them, again, say there was 4, maybe there was 3 dice here on the green, then you're gonna cross off 3 of these vases in the green. You can start over here, you can start over here, it doesn't matter. But when you've filled up one shop area, then you get the points on top of it. If you're the first one to completely fill one of the shops up, you get the bonus points over here, and nobody else can get those bonus points. Then there's also the Traveler. You can take any one dice or any set of dice. So say there are 4s right here in the blue, but I've already filled my blues or I don't want them. I can take the blue dice and say that dice happens to be a 5. Then I can move up here on my Traveler by 5 spots. And you just basically move from the center around, and then wherever you end up, you circle it and you get that bonus. A lot of thinking, because you've got to deal with the dice, a lot of chance involved because you're dealing with dice. But I really enjoy it. It's a short little roll and write. There are extra dice you can roll by paying coins for them or by circling them on the Traveler, because those 3 dice are also available here on the Traveler. And those are only available to you when you roll them. After you've done your initial pick, you pull these dice back. Nobody else gets them that round. So it gives you a little more variability. But yeah, good game. That is Corinth.
Next game we just actually picked up at a yard sale.
Yeah.
And she wanted to see what it is. This is clear for Takeoff.
It's blue-orange.
Yep.
And I spent a lot of years in the travel industry and really enjoy that industry. So it was worth a shot for $3.
Basically, it's all about getting your planes to take off. You got 3 little planes. You got a small little like Piper plane. You got a twin engine plane, and then you got a jet. You got to take them off. You got cards that are going to allow you to move, like the little Piper plane. Like if you want to move it out of your hangar onto the runway A, you need to play a card that has an A on it.
Yep.
If you want to move your twin engine plane out, now you need 2 A's. And then if you want to move your jet out, now you need 3 A's. And you do that for A, B, C, and D.
To move them down the runway.
When you get to D, you're going to take off, and there's weather cards at the end that you're going to flip over, and it's going to say the weather. Sometimes it says it's all clear, everybody can go. Some say it's too foggy, so the Pipers can't leave. Yep. Or the twin engines can't leave, icy, or the jets can't leave.
Yeah,
and if say you get one that says the jets can't leave, because I think the jets are actually the foggy one. I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
But anyway, if you're trying to have your jet take off and it's a jet that says it can't take off, then you can't take off.
And you've just wasted those 3D cards.
There's also cards that can delayed cards. Basically, you're delaying the other player's flight, so now they have to move back one. So now they got to play those cards to get back up. So there's a little bit of take that though, but it's a fun take that.
It is. Yeah, it was a clever little game.
Yeah, it's a really quick game.
This is one we bought not knowing exactly where it was going to go. This one is going to stay. This one is going to go into the travel collection. I don't see it being something challenging enough for us to play on a regular basis. So we're going to put it over there. Seems like a good 1 or 2 play type of game, and it's blue orange, so it's great components. The quality is good. So yeah, that is clear for Takeoff.
Next one we played last night, actually, with Connor, and you put this box lid on.
I would love to say I did that on purpose, but I didn't even look.
Probably did.
I did not.
This is Ctrl or CTRL, whichever you want to call it.
Yeah. This is one, the components are great. We picked this up at Target a while back on clearance and thought, what the heck? It does sit in the other collection. It is not something we are going to play on a regular basis, though we really had fun last night with it. But the pieces are fantastic. The goal with this one, it plays very much like Blokus 3D. Well, I shouldn't say plays much like it, but it scores very much like Blokus 3D.
Or
Rumus. So everybody has 21 of these tiles. Or 22. You start off with 1 on the board, and then as your turns go, you play three tokens at a time, and you have to go in a straight line around the board or climbing over people or whatever. And then by the end of it, you're looking the cube. Thank you.
A board's flat.
Okay. Anyway, so you're going around the cube or up and over people on the cube. But at the end of the game, you're looking at each side individually and scoring just what you can see of your color. I got whooped at this game last night.
You also have these flags that you're putting to block areas you don't want them to build on the next round.
Yeah, so you get to block people.
And then during scoring, if your piece is blocked by somebody's flag, you don't see it. Nope, so
you don't. So interesting game. We played it 2-player. It was okay. Definitely
3-player with Connor.
I really enjoyed it 3-player though. It was much more challenging to do that than to try to play 2 different colors at once. So, but yeah, this one will stay in the other collection. I think it has earned its place to stay. But yeah, that is Control.
Next, we have a game that we have like 3 different types of games like this. And the first one is Crosswise. We have Crossways. And then we have Crosstrack.
These 2 have the same goal.
To get across.
You're getting across the board. That's the whole goal in the game. By playing whatever. This one is a little different. So let's start with these 2. So this guy, you're playing down these beautiful plastic pieces with these tracks on them. And on your turn, you can turn a track, you can lay down a track, you can turn a track, or you can put down these little black pieces that connect tracks. And your goal is you're getting from point A to point B. Doesn't matter how. Doesn't matter how many other people's pieces you have to go through. Once the pieces are down, they belong to everybody unless you have to move them, and then they're yours. So the yellow track belongs to everybody. So you're like blue here is trying to get from here to here. Doesn't matter how he did it, but he did it, even though the last piece played is purple. He still did it. So that's the whole goal of the game. This one, you are playing cards out. So this one comes with basically 2 decks of cards, and you are playing cards out on these numbered pieces. And I don't even remember if I took a picture of this guy. So the whole board
looks like a chessboard almost.
Yeah, looks like a chessboard with all of your red 5, black 8, whatever. They're not identified by suit, just by color. Now the cards have the suits on them. So for a black 6, I could have a 6 of clubs or a 6 of spades, but then I would place my black 6. I would place my pieces here. I think there should be 2 of them, or here. So I could place a piece down in either location. The goal is you're playing your cards to try to get across the board from one way or the other. Doesn't matter which direction you're going, but you need to get completely across the board with your pieces. Multiple people can play on one if there's only one piece down. There's one card in here. There's a certain action you can do to lay 2 pieces down, and that blocks a spot. Once a spot has 2 pieces on it, 2 of the same color pieces on it, nobody else can go there. So it was interesting. Little frustrating. I couldn't get the cards I wanted, but it was interesting. Won the game. I did.
Yes, you won that.
Sure? Yes. I don't remember. Okay.
You won that one, and I think you won this one too. I won that one.
Yes, you won this one. Okay, so that's those 2. This guy reminded me a lot of Quirkle. It has all the different shapes, all the different colors, and your goal is one person is playing columns, one person is playing rows. Here, I'll turn it around. You can see the board a little better. So one person's playing columns, one person's playing rows, and your goal is kind of like poker almost. You are trying to make sets. You're trying to make 2 of a kind, or 3 of a kind, or 4 of a kind, or 1 of everything. So, and you're scoring points based on what your columns and rows have. So like this guy would have a set of 2 and a set of 3. This one here has a set of 5. So you're trying to rearrange the pieces, place them out, move them, because there are certain tiles that let you move things or swap 2 tiles out. So you're trying to play your tiles out every round and maneuver the pieces around the board to get the set up right.
Tiles that are already down there.
Yes, there are tiles that let you swap 2 tiles out or to move something to a different row. So it's interesting. When I first picked it up, I thought it was something like Quirkle. It is not like Quirkle, but it is definitely intriguing.
The thing we found about it though is the special tiles that has the special powers on it. There was too many of them.
I think there was too many. Yeah,
and you could end up with your hand of all the ones that you couldn't use.
Yeah, there was one tile that you could only use in a certain circumstance, and at one point I had all 4 of them in my hand.
So we kind of house ruled as like going,
if you have
let's
more
do it
than
like Quirkle.
yeah.
You can throw away as many as you want back into the bag,
Yeah.
but draw some new ones.
So, all right. These all sit in the other collection. These all sit in the travel collection. We've decided we're going to keep these two because we did enjoy the plays of them. And I enjoyed the play of this one. But we're going to go ahead and get rid of that one. One, because the box size is so unruly. It is hard to store. But also just in the interest of narrowing that collection down some. So as much as I enjoy this one and the pieces are fantastic, the box size is not going to make it come off the shelf.
Yep.
So this one's going to go to the sale pile. These guys are staying in the collection for this at this point.
Now we have another brain burning one. This is Corrosion. This is a new one from Capstone, and it's an engine building game that's all about building an engine.
Literally building an engine, yes. This one's interesting because it uses the rondelle method. You are, as your days go by, you are moving your central rondelle mechanism, your timer, whatever you want to call it. The gear, thank you. You're moving this gear around the middle of your board to one of 4 different spots. Meanwhile, you're playing cards out based on the day number into specific areas, and you can't pick those cards back up until your gear turns to that area.
Till the X gets to
that area, because you've got 1, 2, 3, and X, and any cards you play with a 4 go into the X area, and you don't get them back till the next time they come around there. And they don't turn on a regular basis. You decide when to turn them. You decide when you have to move on because you're out of cards, or you need the benefits that turning it's going to give you. But meanwhile, you are building programs onto each side of the board, each of the 4 sides of your board. You are building special gears that go off every time. So you
got the turning gears, turning machines. You have the one-off machines, and then you have the chrome machines that go on a separate board.
Yes, and those stick around forever. Things. Everything else kind of disappears after a little while. I really enjoy this one. This is in our collection. This will stay in our collection. We both really enjoy it. Need to get it to the table more often. The only thing, if I had any complaint at all, and don't get me wrong, the cardboard pieces are very good quality for what they are. They are cardboard. But if I had any complaint, I wish that Capstone would make the metal gears available for sale outside of the Kickstarter edition or the deluxe edition. Because we picked up just the regular edition because they didn't have the deluxe edition. And I really want the metal chrome gears, but they don't even have the metal gears for the other 2. It's just the chrome ones. The chrome ones, So I really wish, and the chrome ones are nice.
Yeah, on the cards though too, it's hard to tell which one they're talking about because the medium gears and the small gears are really close in color on the cards.
Yeah, these are the small gears. There's the chrome gears, and they're very nice. They're nice and shiny, and they're beautifully done. Where's the others?
Right there.
Oh, right over.
Yeah, these are kind of close in color. And on a card,
it's hard to tell which one.
Each card tells you what you get to do with it there. Sometimes you get some small ones, you get some big ones, or medium ones.
Yeah.
And on the cards, it's kind of, which one are they talking about?
They're very, very close. So.
It's definitely not real colorblind oriented there, I guess.
I don't know. I mean, I guess there is a way to tell. It just you really have to be mindful of what you're looking at, though. So good game. That would be my only complaint. Is I wish there was an option to get metal gears all the way across the board. So, but that is.
At least she fixed it. Okay, just checking.
Yeah, that is Corrosion.
Next one's, I'm going to pull off this one.
Oh my goodness.
This is when we actually had a murder in the house because they keep putting boxes outside down.
Oh my God, you stop that box.
Huh?
Stop.
Okay, anyway, this is
standing up.
Crimes in History, H.H. Holmes, Murder Castle.
We did a video on this one with Mark and Jessica, so you can always go out and check that out as to how it played. We played it last weekend with Doug and Mary, and it was very anticlimactic. It ended very quickly. We literally had one path we could still follow because all the other areas were shut off. I felt like we were grabbing all the rooms with only one entrance in them. So we shut everything off very quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mary won this one very quickly. Or did Doug win this one? Doug won this one. Mary would have won in one more turn, and she'd had one more turn. No, I was a ways off still. Shockers. Anyway, this one is based on a true story
about H.H. Holmes.
H.H. Holmes during the Chicago World Fair in 1906. I want to say 1906. This one is an action selection game. You are laying tiles, or you're picking up your actions each round. You get to do the main action. Everybody else gets to follow that main action, and then you get to do the bonus action.
So it has the Puerto Rico.
It has the Puerto Rico mechanism as far as action selection. And then at the end of the round, everybody puts their tiles back, and the first player moves, and the next player, and you start all over again. But you are moving from room to room. You're picking up evidence cubes that represent, oh my gosh, money found on bodies, represents life insurance paperwork. It represents skeletons, bodies found, different things.
Victims' remains, castle blueprints.
That's the other thing I couldn't think of. But there's 5 different types of evidence cubes you're picking up off of the Ferris wheel that rotates, and those are all randomly put on there. So the piece of evidence you need may not even come out. But as you're moving around, at the end of every round, Holmes moves. Possibly. So you pull a Holmes card, and if you pull a room, it tells you what room he goes into. And if that room is on the board already, then he moves. If you are in that room, you take what's called a Holmes strike. So you get a black cube to go on your card, and you lose a piece of evidence. And then now every time that happens, you lose more evidence. In this one, I don't think Holmes ever caught anybody in this one because we didn't get very many rooms out. So it was very anticlimactic.
And the rooms that he was going to move, I think he only moved like twice.
He only moved twice. Game, so. Yeah, he didn't move very much. None of us used our special powers. It was a very anticlimactic game, I hate to say, which is sad because I think they both would have really enjoyed a full-fledged game of it. And what we played on when we did our video, that was a great game.
Yeah.
We're going to keep it.
It's worth playing.
It's worth playing. We're going to keep it. Hopefully we can get Doug and Mary to sit down and play it with us again. So anyway, but that is H.H. Holmes Murder Castle.
Crimes in History. H.H. Holmes.
Crimes in History. That's why it's in the C's. It's listed as Crimes in History. Sorry.
Speaking of murder, the next ones we have
what are you talking about?
CSI Miami and CSI Crime Scene Investigation, the board games. This is a crime because
they're really not. They really are not.
They tried cashing in on when, as they say, the iron is hot. When CSIs were hot, when these games came out.
Yep. So this one here plays. There's a large board that everybody is moving around, and you can pick up. There's 3 pieces of evidence, 3 pieces of information at each location on the board.
You're rolling dice.
You're rolling dice to get to them. You have to land on them. No, you don't have to land by. No, you do have to land by exact number.
You have to use every tip on your dice.
You have to land by exact number on these pieces. You can go either direction, but you have to land by exact number.
I had the toughest time on this game.
And the bad thing is you literally have to circle the board 3 times because you can only pick up the first piece of information on the first time through. And you can't start picking up second pieces of information until you've gotten all the first pieces of information. And you can't pick up the third pieces until you've gotten all the seconds. So it's I feel like it drags it out a lot longer than it needs to.
A lot.
And then on top of that, the goal isn't to figure out who did it and why. The goal is to figure out what your motive was, to figure out which card, not what the motive is, which card identified the motive, which card identified the means, and which card identified the victim or the not victim, the murderer. It wasn't. I had all the information, but I had identified the wrong cards, even though I had all the information correct.
Right.
So it's not staying. These were in the other collection. These were in the travel collection. They're not staying.
Yeah. Because I had bad rolls at the beginning, and she had almost the entire first day done
before you got your
before
first
I
piece
even
of
got my first
information.
piece of clue for the first day.
So this one, same concept, only instead of moving around the board, you're rolling a die to determine whose piece of information you get to look at. That's all, instead of moving around the board. So it takes out that needing the exact roll, but at the same time, you have no control over what you're rolling. You could roll the same person 4 times and it'd be useless. So they're not staying. It was okay. The story was good, but the mechanisms behind the story were not good. Okay, that's all.
Next we have
Cupcake Race.
Cake Race.
All right.
This has a spinner in the game.
It does.
A spinner.
The spinner, and you don't like spinners,
no,
obviously.
I don't like spinners.
The spinner determines how many numbers you get to move on your thing. The number determines how many sprinkles you get when you get to an area that gives you sprinkles. If I remember correctly. I could be remembering that wrong.
The number is spaces.
Number is spaces. Sorry. Number is spaces of how many spaces you get to move. Color is the color of sprinkle you get.
To put on.
I knew I was, I was there, but not quite. So, and there are areas that give you extra sprinkles, and the goal is to get the most sprinkles by the time you make it to the party.
Yeah, you're constructing a cupcake.
Yes. The pieces are fantastic. The pieces are these beautiful plastic pieces with cake mix and frosting, and you get to pick, and then there's these little sprinkles that go into your frosting and the cherry that goes on top, and the pieces are fantastic. Gameplay is okay for a 4-year-old. My concern, and we debated heavily on whether we were getting rid of this one, just because of it is a cute little game. These are so tiny. I am afraid of what a 4-year-old would do with them, or a younger sibling if there was younger siblings playing it with them. And being that we're going to get rid of it because of the size of these sprinkles. And we have another one that is cupcake based later down the road called Take the Cake.
Oh, gee.
I think we're going to stick with that one because it's larger wooden pieces than these little tiny things. So we'll play that one, see how it goes. But I think this one, again, in the interest of getting that collection down to a manageable number, this one's going to go.
Next we have the case. This is another one we played with the Quaplo Nerds people.
This one it's another mystery solving game, but in this one, you've got one person who knows all the answers and is reading the cards, because some comes with a ton of cards. So it comes with, I go now. That's the sample card. Let me get somebody. Okay, so it comes with cards that tell the story. This is what you're reading to everybody. I mean, for lack of a better term, it's a one against many type game. The moderator reads the story on the front of the card and then reads the back of the card to themselves. This is all the clues and all the information you're allowed to give out. And you have to answer. All of your investigators are asking questions. So they can ask any question they want, and you have to answer based on the information on the back of the card. The moderator does. So you can answer with a yes, a no, a yes and no. Irrelevant, I don't know. Define what you mean by that, or rephrase your question. Those are the ones you're allowed to answer with. They come in easy, medium, and hard. We played 3 rounds of this, 1 of each round. And I think we did okay. The easy one we got pretty quickly. Yeah. The hard one involved a fireplace that they didn't even talk about in the first part of the story. Yeah. So that one was a little more complicated.
This is basically a case solving game that's 21 questions.
Yeah.
Just like the game 21 questions.
It really is. It was neat. And I think the stories were really fun, and they were interesting to kind of work out the puzzle on. And there was a lot of discussion behind everything. So I think we're going to keep this one for the moment. It may be usurped by something later down the road. I don't know. But for the moment, we're going to hold on to this guy just because he is quick little 7-minute cases. So it's easy to sit down with a group of people and just play. There's not an hour-long commitment. And for the types of events that we sometimes go to, this might work well when they've only got 15 or 20 minutes to play a quick game. So I don't know, we'll see. But this one's going to stay for the moment. But that is Crack the Case.
Next is Costa Rica. We did not play this. We played Katie's. We got this box on wrong.
They're both backwards.
Basically, Katie made a larger version of this game because the first time we ever played it, they used a version like this.
They used a large version, one a little bit bigger than this, actually, much more professionally done, let me tell you. So, and I was so intrigued by that when we go to do these events, it's nice to have large versions of games out on the table to catch people's attentions. And I thought this was a great one, and I figured it'd be easy to do. So that's what I did. I made, back to there for a second. I took all of these tiles and made jumbo-sized tiles out of them. Now, this is not something I'm ever going to sell. So this is for our personal use only, or for use at the events we go to. But yeah, I thought they came out pretty well. So you set everything out on a grid similar to this, like it shows in the rule book, with all of your different, and it's all random. There's no rhyme or reason, but there's 3 different types of terrain. There's your forest terrain, there's your mountain terrain, and there's your swamp terrain or your water terrain. And the goal of this game is that you are out taking pictures of 6 different animals out in the various terrains. The game tells you which animals are more prevalent in which areas. It also tells you how many mosquitoes might be in different areas. So you're going through the forest. You start with each of your workers or each of your photographers start
in the
corners of the board. And you are moving one person one by one until you decide to stop. If you catch one mosquito in your picture, that's okay. But if you catch a second mosquito in your picture, you lose everything you've just taken. It ruins the entire roll. So you have to be careful. It's definitely a pressure lock game. As you finish, you decide you're done for the day, or you catch the second mosquito and destroy your roll of film. Then you pull your piece off the board as well as all the pieces you just collected or destroyed. And then everybody that's with you in that area moves up to where you left off. They basically followed you on your track. And then at the end of the game, you go through all of your pictures and you set them up in sets. And you get so many points based on every set that you've taken, whether it be similar sets or different sets. Like for every set you have of all 6 animals, you get 20 points. And then depending on the number you have of each animal, you get different points. So it's a super easy game, very lightweight, great intro game or welcoming game, I think. We taught this to Chrissy, who is not a hardcore gamer. She is a very light gamer, and she picked it up very quickly and really enjoyed it. So this one sits in our collection, and it will stay there. This one sits in the travel collection, and it will stay there. And I'm hoping to actually pull it out. We haven't done an event since I finished it. So, but that is Costa Rica.
So next we have Cottage Garden, polyomino game. I won this one though this time.
You did. You beat me by a couple points. All right, this one is you're basically building your garden with polyomino versions of flowers. So it plays, pieces go out very similar to a patchwork feel, where there's a long line of pieces out on the board and pieces load onto the board in a specific line. You have a central board here that is all the pieces are out on. The dice determines your round number. So you set the dice at a specific number based on how many players are playing. And as the dice moves around the board, and then when you get to a certain place, you mark it up, I think you mark it up. Yep, you mark it up. So you're marking it up, your dice is starting in a certain place, and then each person's turn, it moves, and that person can pick from that row, or it moves here, and that person can pick from this row, or it moves here and there. And on a 4-player game, there's actually a corner spot, and you can pick from the diagonal rows. We've never played a 4-player game of this. So you're picking your tile from this row and putting it onto your board. Now your boards are just these little bitty boards you're trying to fill in. The whole score mechanism on this one is based on the flower pots and these, whatever these were called. I don't remember what the little white ones were called now, but
garden decorations,
I think so. But anyway, you're scoring on those. So if you cover those, you're not scoring on them. There are also there's kitty cats you can use to fill your board in with,
spaces, but there's also
more pots you can take. As you fill up a board, you are taking your board, you're flipping it over, and you're putting it out in the central area for another player. And then when that person fills up a board, they're taking your board and putting one their board they just filled, and the boards are flipping back and forth in that manner. Interesting game. I do like it. It is going to stay. It's part of a series, and the other 2 pieces of the series will come up later. I think out of the 3, well, I don't know. I haven't played the other 2 in so long. I couldn't tell you which one I like best, but I do enjoy this one. And it will stay in the collection.
Next, we have the longest game so far in our collection.
Yeah.
That has been played. This one always sits down because of the insert
that's in it. So here, we'll do this.
This is the Colonists.
Yes, this is an epic game. As they say, it's an epic strategy game. It is a tile placement, city building, resource gathering. I mean, it's got a little bit of everything in it. Whoever's first in the round is putting out tiles to build the city out. The tiles either allow you to pick up resources, convert resources, build buildings, join the colonies, pick up cards that give you extra bonuses and allow you to build extra things of your own. There's a lot of things. And then there's markets where you can do certain things, and the market changes out every round as far as what it does, or every era. There are 4 eras in this game. Each era, depending on number of players, takes approximately 90 to 120 minutes to play. I think the last time we played this, we got through all 4 eras in about 6 hours.
It says 30 to 240 minutes. That's on the light side.
Yes.
If you've played this a bunch of times.
We got through it in about 5 or 6 hours, all 4 eras. Last time we played it. Great game. If you like the really long, drawn out, heavy strategy games, this is a good one.
This has a mechanism that you can play if you get done with an era and you want to stop, but you don't want to completely stop and put everything away. You can put it. It shows you how to store the game to reset it when you pull it back out for the next era.
Or there are ways, if you don't always want to start at era 1 and you want to start a little more challenging, there are ways to start in a later era that tells you what to do to set up for that,
games,
and how to build your board to simulate those earlier eras. So we always just start from 1 and play through. We make it an all-day thing and go do other things or whatever, do other errands, whatnot in between eras. But it has been in our collection for a while. We lucked out and found this at a yard sale because we missed it at Gen Con the 1 year it was out, and really, really enjoy it. We're definitely going to keep it. But that is the Colonists.
Next,
I'm not sure where to put him. He may just sit over here because I don't want to. He weighs so
heavy.
Much. Yeah, I'm just going to leave him right there. He's
Next
fine.
is a lighter game. That is the Crocodile Hunter game. With the lid on upside down.
Yeah. This is a cute little kids game.
This is a ridiculous game.
We had a good time playing it, but none of us ever went flying. So the idea is that your pieces are attached to a little like clip.
Kind of like a lever from a dunking machine.
Yeah.
That's what I figured
Yeah.
It
Looks like it's a little spring-loaded clip that sits on the edge of the board.
On the fence.
And or on the fence, yes, thank you. And when a certain card is pulled, because you have to pull a card every round in order to move, and you move so many pickets down the fence back to safety. And if you pull a card that states that the alligator moves, then you have to turn the alligator on, and
you hit the button on his head.
He starts going all over the board. And if he happens to hit your clip and spring loads you back, then you have to move backwards to a safe zone. Never happened in our game though.
Nope. Got close.
Got close.
It nipped me a couple times.
Yes.
It didn't set it off.
It was a cute game. I could see it's very interactive. However, it was a pain in the rump to set up.
Yes.
The pieces have to go in a very, very specific order, and they're not labeled as to how they go. So it took a lot of trial and error to even get the board set up correctly. So we're going to put this one on the sale pile. It is a cute game. I think somebody will enjoy it. I just don't know that I want to save it and have to set it up at a game event. So yeah, that is Crocodile Hunter.
And the very last game of the seas we played last night with Connor.
Last in alphabetical order, last one played the whole works.
That is Cyclades.
Yeah.
We played this with the Monument expansion
and the
both parts of the Monument expansion and the Titans expansion. We don't have Hades, and we don't really need Hades.
No.
And someone who put this game up last night put the box on it upside down. That's like 3 in a row, isn't it? Almost 3 in a row.
I don't know. I wasn't counting.
This is all about exploring,
ancient Greece,
conquering, battling, and using the ancient Greek gods' powers.
Yes. So this is all based in ancient Greece. You are bidding for favor with the gods. So it has the bidding mechanism. It has, after you've bid for each god allows you to do a specific power. So it does tell you exactly what you're doing based on who you decide to bid for, but it's very easy to be outbid as well. And one person basically isn't going to do anything every round because you're going to go down to Apollo and just get a coin. Just one coin.
Get one coin, and if you're the first one there, you get a cornucopia that's going to allow your income to
more
come
money,
up each round.
So there is benefit to going there.
Yes.
However, you also don't do anything else, and one player this happens to every single round. So it does not have any of the mechanisms I enjoy. I don't enjoy bidding. I don't enjoy combat, and there is combat in this game because you're trying to take over people's lands and control ancient Greece.
It's very light, and you add up how many it is, and if you lose, you take one off. And you
it is very light, but it's still combat. So it's okay. We've had it for several years. By several, I mean like 7 or 8 years now. We've only played it 4 times, but it was enjoyable last night. It is much more enjoyable at 4 players than 2.
It's good with the right people.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll stay.
Yep.
But because I know you really enjoy it.
And this is like a sibling that can be played with Kemet.
I don't know about played with, but it's very similar to Kemet.
It can cross over.
Oh, can it?
Yes, they can cross over.
Did not know that.
Yep.
Okay.
The monsters from here can go to Kemet.
Oh, the monsters and stuff. Yes. Okay. So I see what you're saying. It was much faster than I thought it should have been.
Yep, and that's what Connor and Nadil were both saying too. This is a lot faster.
60 to 90 minutes, and we played for about 90 minutes.
I like it.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, that is Cyclades or Cyclades or however you want to pronounce it. So that is it for the seas.
Yay! No more C's. Well, of course, we buy a game that has a C on it.
Yes. Well, no, we're going into the D's.
Do that anymore.
I'm hoping that we can get through the D's without backtracking at all, but Christmas is in there, so I'm not making any promises. So yeah, that being said, I guess that's it.
Yep. So until then, we'll see you at the next one.